History does not preserve the weak. It merely archives their grievances. Imagine a mind trapped inside a broken body, writing from a freezing rented room in Sils Maria, watching the world pass him by. Friedrich Nietzsche did not invent the concept of ressentiment from a position of triumphant strength. He extracted it from the raw tissue of his own bitter isolation. He was a man rejected by Lou Andrea Salome, the only woman he truly desired, forced to witness her love for his friend Paul Ray. "What does not kill me makes me stronger," he wrote. But it was a desperate coping mechanism for a man whose eyes were failing and whose stomach was constantly turning. The psychological mechanism he unmasked was born from the unbearable weight of unreciprocated existence. It is the defensive reflex of the vulnerable, a systematic turning inward of an anger that cannot find an outlet in the physical world. It begins when the trauma of defeat cannot be avenged, forcing the mind to perform a brilliant, terrifying act of mental gymnastics. If I cannot defeat my enemy, I will declare his very strength to be evil, and my own weakness to be holy.
The tragedy of resentment is that it requires an object of obsession. The slave does not look at his own chains to break them. He looks at the master's freedom and curses it. The slave revolt in morality begins when resentment itself becomes creative and gives birth to values, Nietzsche declared in On the Genealogy of Morals. This was not a sudden intellectual shift, but a slow, agonizing historical inversion born out of Rome's crushing dominance over Judea. The subjugated could not break the Roman legions, so they broke the Roman spirit. They took the classical values of pride, physical prowess, wealth, and sexual vitality and inverted them into the ultimate sins. Christianity became the ultimate vehicle for this metaphysical revenge. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last, the Gospels promised, providing a cosmic anesthesia for the oppressed. Nietzsche saw this as a profound betrayal of human potential, a psychological virus that elevated the sick, the mediocre, and the broken while crucifying the exceptional. Christianity was the vampire of the Imperium Romanum, he wrote in The Antichrist, arguing that it sucked the life out of a grand, tragic civilization to feed a culture of guilt and pity.
This obsession destroys the possibility of genuine love, replacing it with a transactional, resentful attachment. The individual possessed by resentment cannot love the other for who they are. They love them only for how well they validate their shared suffering. In human relationships, this manifests as a silent, creeping rot. The partner who feels inferior does not strive to match their lover's growth. They covertly sabotage it, using guilt as an invisible leash. In the end, one loves one's desire and not what is desired, Nietzsche observed in Beyond Good and Evil. When a person is unable to act out their passions or claim their desires, they begin to despise the desire itself. Love becomes an exercise in mutual diminishment, a pact of weakness where any sign of independent strength is treated as an act of treason. The history of human thought is littered with the corpses of relationships broken by this unspoken tension, where the creative force of one individual is suffocated by the passive-aggressive moralizing of another who claims to be saving them. The ultimate crisis of this concept is that it creates a permanent state of psychological reactive dependence. The noble soul, according to Nietzsche, acts spontaneously and defines good from within itself, only later conceiving of the bad as an afterthought. But the man of resentment requires an enemy first. His action is fundamentally reaction, Nietzsche wrote. He cannot exist without his oppressor. He clings to his victimhood because without it, his identity evaporates into nothingness. He does not want justice. He wants a reversal of roles where he can finally hold the whip.
The historical tragedy of this inversion is that it never actually heals the original wound. It merely perpetuates a cycle of hidden malice, masked as divine justice or moral purity, ensuring that humanity remains chained to its own unventilated trauma.
In the 21st century, this psychological mechanism has transitioned from a theological doctrine into the very architecture of our digital lives. We live in a hyper-connected panopticon where weakness is commodified and outrage is the primary currency. Social media platforms are massive incubators for resentment, engineering spaces where individuals do not seek to elevate themselves, but rather to pull down anyone who dares to stand out. The sick are the greatest danger for the healthy, Nietzsche warned, and today that sickness manifests as a systemic intolerance for exceptionalism.
The modern individual is bombarded with images of curated perfection, triggering an immediate, painful realization of their own inadequacy. Instead of transforming this pain into creative action, the algorithm provides an easier path: collective condemnation. We no longer engage in the difficult work of self-overcoming. We engage in the performative execution of those who remind us of what we lack.
The modern ego is fragile, fragmented, and fundamentally reactive. We see ressentiment in the workplace, where administrative bureaucrats weaponize policy to stifle creative innovators. We see it in cultural movements that value conformity over raw talent. We see it in our private mirrors, where we curse our lack of discipline while blaming the structure of reality itself. Is it not better to fall into the hands of a murderer than into the dreams of a lustful woman? Nietzsche asked in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, pointing to the insidious nature of hidden, festering desires. The contemporary citizen is paralyzed by a profound, unacknowledged self-loathing, unable to achieve greatness, yet deeply resentful of anyone who claims it. We have built a world that perfectly fulfills Nietzsche's darkest prophecy, a society of the last man, comfortable, risk-averse, and entirely hostile to anything that threatens its mediocre equilibrium.
We are trapped in a hall of mirrors, desperately screaming at our reflections, completely unaware that the chains we carry were forged by our own refusal to face the abyss within.